Is everyone today a narcissist? You know, this is the topic I want to tackle here for a little bit. And the reason why I bring this up is this word is thrown around an awful lot, right? Narcissist, he's a narcissist, she's a narcissist. It's thrown around a lot. And admittedly, there are times where it is undeservedly thrown around. Okay? There are people accused of being a narcissist who aren't. I have I have had narcissists that I came to understand these people were narcissists whom told me that the person they were with, their ex, was a narcissist. I am sure that I am a narcissist according to the narcissist. So yes, there are times where it's errantly thrown around, tossed around, and let's be honest, it's a very ugly thing to say about a person if it's not true. And it's also a very ugly label that nobody wants to have. Because what you're basically saying is this person is a despicable human being, is basically what you're saying when you talk about this. So there are people, of course, that will just think, well, gosh, is everybody a narcissist? Especially those people who haven't really gone through it. It's just very difficult for people who have not gone through it to understand. So I want to talk about today how many narcissists really are there? How bad is this? Like, what is the appropriate way to discuss this? But most importantly, what is it really that makes somebody a narcissist versus somebody who's just kind of a bad person? I did a video a long time ago about this, but it's definitely worth revisiting. So, the first thing is narcissism is, as we all know, or most of us know, it is on a spectrum. When I when I personally say somebody is a narcissist, I am not talking about somebody who's just somewhere kind of midway or a little bit down that path, somewhere on the spectrum. I'm talking about chiefly an individual who has gone so far down that spectrum and that path in life that they are basically either reprobates or they're close to being reprobates. They're really far down that path. They exhibit a lot of these traits consistently that we're going to talk about. I'm not saying this person has problems, this person has a couple flaws, this person has some toxic traits, just a few. I'm saying this person is way down that road and probably to the point where they are gone. Because a genuine reprobate narcissist is gone. That means they're given over. They're morally depraved. And and I don't think once you get to that point you're coming back. Not saying it's technically impossible, but I think it's so highly improbable that I don't know when it's happened. So that's what I mean when I say that. So it is a spectrum. But the question really is then, how many people are that far down the road? So I'm going to let scripture talk about this because I've referenced this passage a lot, but let's really think about this because the Bible specifically identifies the hallmarks of a narcissist 2,000 years ago. It doesn't call them narcissists because that really wasn't a term back then, really wasn't a known term, but it describes the character and nature of these people to perfection. So here's what it says. This is Second Timothy 3, and I'll read at least the first 5 verses. Here's what Paul said. Understand this. In the last days, keep that in mind, in the last days there will come times of difficulty. For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. For among them are those who creep into households and capture weak women, burdened with sins and led astray by various passions, always learning and never able to arrive at the knowledge of the truth. And it goes on. But do you notice the discussion of all of the things that identify these kind of people? Here's what I'm going to tell you. The narcissist exemplifies all of those things. You might go down through the list and you might find somebody who is disrespectful to their parents and they're not a narcissist. You might find somebody who is greedy, that's not a narcissist. You might find somebody who checks a few of those boxes, one of them, maybe quite a few of them. But the difference between a true, genuine narcissist and just a bad person or a person with issues or a person who's disrespectful or hard to get along with or kind of a jerk or anything you want to fill in, there is a vast difference between that kind of person and a full-blown, full-fledged narcissist. And the spectrum kind of falls in between. A narcissist checks every one of those boxes, or very, very close to it. Very, very close to it, if not all of them. They are extremely disrespectful people. They are extremely abusive. They are slanderers. They are gossipers. And we can fill in the way this works. We can say lovers of self. And what do we mean? Selfish, totally self-absorbed. When it says unappeasable, what is it? Or insatiable, what is that really saying in our terms? It means nothing's good enough, impossible to satisfy. Highly entitled is another way of putting that. Someone who is unappeasable is highly entitled. Every narcissist I've ever met, because this is how they are, it's in their nature, they are extraordinarily entitled people. They believe they deserve everything in the world and then some, and then something they can't even dream up. That's why nothing you ever do is good enough. That's why no one is ever good enough. That's why you might be with a narcissist or have been with one, and you might be hanging the sun, the moon, the stars, breaking your back, doing absolutely everything that can be done for this person. And they might say, I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to settle. Settle for a person you find attractive who is breaking their back for you. That's the narcissist. That's how they view things. They are utterly insatiable. Swollen with pride, puffed up. You go down through all of this. And it doesn't say in here, I don't believe, that they're terrible parents, but it doesn't really have to, right? Because someone who is like this is a terrible parent. Narcissists are the most dreadful, horrible parents you're ever going to find. And why? Because they don't care about anybody but themselves at a deep level. It doesn't mean they don't care at all about their children. It doesn't mean a narcissist doesn't care at all about the person they're with or their parents or loved ones. It doesn't mean they don't care at all, but they care very, very, very little. Very, very little. It says they're heartless. Flat out heartless. There are a lot of people in this world today that are absolutely heartless. They will cut you like the Billy Joel song. I mean, guys, if you've never heard, I think it's called Always a Woman. Go listen to that song. It popped up this morning on a playlist for me and I revisited it and I'm like, man, this is so perfect. But one of the lines in there, among others, I mean, he's explaining a covert narcissist to perfection, okay? But one of the lines in there says, she'll carelessly cut you and laugh while you're bleeding. Or callously cut you and laugh while you're bleeding. One of those two. The point is, they will sit and do damage to you and laugh about it. It gives them a thrill. Heartless. Another thing it says, brutal. Narcissists are brutal people. They will say the cruelest things imaginable. And not just that, they will leave you at your weakest points. They'll leave you if you need them. It's an age-old thing, but it's facts. I've seen it. You want to get rid of a narcissist? Get sick. You want to get rid of a narcissist? Go through a really bad patch in your life, lose your job, or get sick, or go through something really hard. You'll watch that narcissist hit the road. They want no part of it. They want no part of dealing with anybody they have to take care of. Narcissists will leave a husband or wife of 30 years because they're now suffering from dementia. They're not going to deal with that. They're not going to do it. And yes, that is selfishness and it's heartlessness and it's all of those things, but it's brutal. They will leave somebody on a whim because it's good for them, because they think it's in their best interest. If you are not offering what the narcissist feels like they should be getting at all times, they will leave you like nothing. They'll leave you like you're standing still. Not loving good. Well, that goes without saying. Treacherous, reckless. They are reckless. They make the worst decisions imaginable. They go through their lives like everything is a game. Everything is carte blanche. Everything is what they want. Everything is just big game. And because of that, because they don't value, appreciate anybody, and everything's a game, and everyone's an obstacle, and everyone's a competitor, they will make the most horrific decisions imaginable. They will be, at times, it doesn't happen a lot because there's not that many of us, but they will at times be with an absolutely fantastic individual and they'll destroy it. They'll just blow that thing up. They'll stick the dynamite in there and blow that thing up like it's nothing and go right on. But you know what? That damaged them a lot. That hurt them a lot because now they have to suffer with other people. They don't have that great person. They have to go out there in the world and figure it out without this person in their lives. That hurts them far more than they will ever admit. And don't think for a minute the narcissist doesn't look back at you, or that down the road they won't look back at you. Oh, they will. Oh, they will. And I'm not saying they sit there and they grieve their decision or they're so mournful, they're so upset about what they did to you. That's not what I mean. They will look back and say, I had that. I had that person. And they're not going to admit it. And they won't even fully allow themselves to admit it, probably. But they know. They know what they had and they know what they lost because they make reckless decisions. This is why a lot of them get sick. They live very rough lives. They get sick a lot of the time, not always, but they blow through partners. They blow through situations. They will wreck a good job if they have it a lot of the time because they're just disagreeable. They just don't get along with people very long. They can keep the act up for a while, right? But sooner or later, a lot of the time, they have a run in because they don't like authority and they are reckless people. And they're always upset. They're always disgruntled about something. So they'll destroy a good job. They'll destroy things with great people. They'll sometimes I've seen narcissists with really nice houses and nice setups, and down the road, because of their poor decisions, they're living in a shanty. Destroyed the living situation they had. Swollen with conceit. Lovers of pleasure. Yeah, we know that. The narcissist is all about the moment. It's all about feeling good. And this is the problem I have with most people alive today, if you were ever going to try to date and things of that nature. Most people just live for the thrills. It's about constant thrills. It's excitement. Is he exciting? Is this thrilling? Is this... And if it's not that, they're out. They're out. They just live for the thrill. They live for the thrill of the chase. They live to be chased. Everything is just excitement, excitement all the time for them. And it's pleasure. And yes, that does mean sexual sometimes. That does mean financial. That does mean just feeling good. It does mean drinking, drugging. It does mean those things because they just live for that pleasure. Everything's temporary. Everything's a quick fix for the narcissist. They don't want to put work in. They don't want to ever put the effort in to make themselves better human beings. and think about things long term and do what would make sense for them long term. They just want the thrill and the pleasure right now. I have met individuals that I'm telling you had the choice between doing things the right way with a person who would have been great for them, or do I do I want to put that work in, or oh, do I want to put that effort? No. It's just easier to live my life and put no work in and live for the easy thrills. That's the decision the narcissist makes. Another very interesting thing in here is it says, and I'm going to wrap up the scripture part of this. It says, having the appearance of godliness but denying its power. Do you know how many people today in the world have the appearance of godliness but deny its power? In other words, they look the part, they act the part, they seem the part, but they're not the part. They're hollow. They're whitewashed tombs. This is why a lot of people you go to church with, and I go to church with, and everybody goes to church with, a lot of them in there, a lot of people are narcissists. I'm not saying that you should go like sniffing around and labeling, and you know it when you see it. But they sure act a good part, don't they? They show up, they're part of this, they're part of that. They talk a big game. But when push comes to shove, they're corrupt. They're narcissists. Sometimes. Frequently. Far more frequently than it should be. So, how many people are? How many people are this? That's the question. Is everyone today a narcissist? That's the question. The answer, of course, is no. Not everyone's a narcissist. There are plenty of people. There are good people in the world. There are good people, okay? Small in number, but truly, authentically good people, people of the light. They exist. Some of them are on this channel. Some of you guys are certainly that. They exist. But put that on the shelf for a minute. It's small. That's a narrow path, right? That's a narrow path person. Outside of that, there are plenty of individuals who aren't maybe people of the light, but they're not wicked, horrific, evil monsters. There's a lot of people who are just your average Joe, kind of decent, kind of not. There are a lot of bad people who have a lot of bad traits and characteristics. And then there are narcissists. So there's this broad spectrum. There's a lot of people with narcissistic traits today. I don't know the percentage because narcissistic traits are fallen, corrupt human traits. That's what they are. And a lot of people have some of those. How many people, though, are the full blown? I'm still consistent in this. I believe it's somewhere around 20%. Again, hear me. I'm talking about the full blown reprobate, absolutely selfish, self absorbed monstrosity of a narcissist. About 20%. And you know what? That's really high. That's really, really high. That is one out of every 5 people in this world are narcissists. But here's the problem. Like I said, a lot of other people are still really rough people, really bad people, narcissistic people you don't want to deal with. I know this sounds really doom and gloom. I'm not trying to be. It's honest. It's just the truth. There are a lot of terrible people alive today. There are. And you notice what that talked about? What was the premise of that whole discussion that Paul had in his letter to Timothy? The premise of that was the last days. Some of the Bible's versions title it godlessness in the last days. Because guys, I think that's what we're dealing with. There's no way that it can be this rampant, that there can be this many people today who are this narcissistic or flat out full blown reprobates and it not be the last days. Could it get worse? Sure. Sure, it's gonna continue to get worse. But how much? I mean, my gosh, how much worse can it really get? And that's not my only reason for thinking this. There are tons of reasons why I think we're at the end. I'm working on a book right now. I'll share it with you guys when I'm done. details very specifically why I think we're at the end and who's really running this wicked world. But suffice it to say, there's a lot of evil people out there. There's a lot of narcissists, and that's a telltale sign of the last days. So drop comments below. What do you think? Obviously, none of us know the exact percentage, but if you had to guess, how many do you think are full-blown reprobate narcissists? How many people do you think really deserve that title? Because I know it's thrown around a lot, and narcissists use it, and people use it errantly, but I'm telling you what, I don't think it's overused for the most part because there's that many of them. There's that many of them. Why do you think this channel exists? Why do you think you guys are here? Why do you think other channels exist? Why do you think it's used so frequently? A big part of that reason why is because there's that many of them. So is everyone today a narcissist? No, of course not. But a lot of people are. A whole lot. So guys, hope you enjoyed this take. Drop comments below. If you haven't subscribed, I appreciate it if you did. I will come at you with another one soon. I'm going to go brave what is a really cold and windy day and maybe do something inside for a little bit. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Come at you with another one soon. Until then, God bless.